How's it going, guys? Today we'll be checking out my top 10 best Google Cardboard games that I've seen so far. We will be starting from the bottom and moving our way up to my top 3. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So starting at number 10, we have Smash VR, a mindless monster punching smashing game where your goal is to not get hit and to defeat as many monsters as you can before the 1 minute mark to claim your highest score. A very short game that is good for building fast VR reflexes, and will recommend a controller and a matchable headset to play it. It can also be played with a regular touch input, and it's a game you should play with your friends to see who gets a higher score. Moving on to number 9, we have Wrong Level. This is a first person platformer with no goal, or as the developer describes it in the description, a platformer with no sense. No objectives, just 11 levels to explore and immerse yourself in. You will need a controller in order to play, and you'll have to hit those perfect jumps in order to move on. Just a real fun and challenging game. Next at number 8, we have Road City VR. This is a simple game where you're flying a spacecraft. You don't have to evade and get past obstacles that are in your way. You have to do strikes before you're out, and each time you run into an obstacle, that counts as a strike. The music starts out repetitive and gets better later as you progress. I wish there was an option to mute the music so you could play your own, but otherwise it's a great relaxing game that can lead to a good challenge. Next at number 7, we have VR Minecart, a fun game that can be played without any controllers. Basically, you're in first person in a minecart inside a mine, collecting jewels and diamonds, while trying to evade oncoming bombs and obstacles. It is played sitting down, and the way you play is by moving side to side and ducking to evade various things. The game does get faster and faster, and overall, it's a pretty fun fast-paced game. At number 6, we have an adventure game with lots to do, and that game is Overreal. The game starts off with a very cheesy narration, but gets better as you progress. Your goal is to defeat monsters, and using your powers to pick up rocks and throw them like it was a gravity gun from Half-Life 2, as well as other power-ups they can get, such as magical projectiles. You will need a controller, and you'll have to be standing up, and yes, there's a boss fight at the end. In number 5, we have Galactic, which is one of those fast-paced evasion games. You travel through a space-time tunnel and try to evade various shaped obstacles. The speed increases as you progress, and it can get very challenging. It is just a very fun, fast-action game, lots of variety, with great visuals, music is okay, and it is played by tilting your head side to side, and again, this is one of my favorite type of games. Next to number 4, we have Wrong Voyage. It is made by the same developer as Wrong Level, but this is a much better polished game. Here you're also exploring various levels, and you get your own activator pistol to solve the puzzles and activate gates to proceed. It is tons of fun and has many awesome levels to explore. Kinda reminds me of Half-Life, and I totally recommend playing it. And yes, you'll need a gamepad and will have to be standing in order to play. Now before we move on, I do want to mention that the next top 3 are the most polished VR games, and they all get my Kommando stamp of approval. And yes, they all require a proper gamepad in order to enjoy playing them. So with that all being said, let's see what these games are all about. In number 3, we have Flats. Yeah, it's just Flats. It's an awesome first-person shooter and action game where you can pick up various weapons, any 2 weapons, and switch between them at any time. From pistols to rifles to snipers to grenade launchers and SMGs, you can pick and choose any weapon you find. You can melee your enemies if you choose to, or blow them away with grenades, as well as being able to regenerate health by taking cover. You can play the game in both single player and multiplayer with your friends on various awesome looking maps. You can also start on various phases where things get harder and harder throughout each phase, with more opponents with faster reflexes. Again, this is a totally awesome game with awesome looking visuals that you should totally check out, along with the next 2 in this list. Moving on to number 2, this is my currently favorite game out of the speed evasion games, and that game is Voxel VR. You have probably played it before. The developer here constantly updates the game with new features and improvements. It is very visually pleasing, and things can get very hectic. You first start by selecting a ship of your choice. As you progress by evading obstacles on oncoming traffic, the speed keeps increasing gradually. You can choose from various different ships that you can unlock and play, and if you scroll all the way to the right, you will find a super fast, awesome looking aircraft that you can play as. The best part is each ship has its own speed and music, and you do have the option to mute and play your own music. If you do encounter some lag, there is the option to lower the graphics. Just a very awesome, relaxing game with fantastic looking visuals that I totally recommend playing. And finally, at number 1, we have Galactic VR, the most PC VR-like game. This game is packed with a lot of things that you could do. You might have probably already played the demo at one point, but the full version is packed with goodness. I've been personally following the game's development progress on Twitter till it was released, and have not gotten a chance to share it with you guys until now. So the game reminds me a lot of Star Citizen, and the things that you could do in this game are pretty awesome and plenty. There are 100 levels in total that you can progress through, that vary from first-person missions and puzzles, fighting off space creatures and robots while completing objectives, to space dogfights and races with a hint of Mario Kart. And the best part is, you can literally move your head independently from your spaceship, so you can look around with your head while your ship is moving in the direction it was going, just like a real PC VR game. So overall, it's a fantastic game that's worth every penny. Very well polished and loaded with features and options. Just an awesome game that I again totally recommend, just like every other game that I've recommended in this list. And that is pretty much it. Hope you have enjoyed this top 10 list. I've got more to come for different types of apps, so stay tuned for that. And if you have found something awesome to play, hit that like button and subscribe for more VR content and reviews. See you guys in the next video, and take care everyone.